From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, July the 12th, 2019. Some 6,000 Palestinians protested at the Gaza security fence today, with some throwing stones and explosive devices at IDF soldiers who used riot dispersal methods. There were several injuries reported. There were also clashes reported in the West Ridge, commonly referred to as the West Bank, where Palestinians threw rocks at IDF soldiers and burned tires. A 10-year-old Palestinian boy was said to have been seriously injured. The IDF had anticipated violence in the wake of the mistaken shooting death yesterday of a Hamas member whom the IDF believed was an armed terrorist, but in fact, he was a member of the terror group's restraint force, trying to prevent Palestinian youths from breaching the Gaza border fence. The IDF released a rare statement yesterday explaining the misunderstanding in an attempt to quell Palestinian anger. However, a senior Hamas official rejected what he called, quote, the enemy's apology for the killing of the martyr, unquote, vowing revenge. A delegation from Egypt was in Gaza today, also trying to restore calm. The spokesman for Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas said yesterday that the Palestinians are willing to reestablish contact with the U.S. administration under certain conditions. Nabil Abu Radene said the PLO has never rejected any negotiations or initiatives to achieve peace based in the two-state solution, which he said must be based on the 1967 borders and within the framework of international legitimacy resolutions and the 2002 Arab Peace Initiative, which considers East Jerusalem an occupied territory. Reuters reports, meanwhile, that the PA's finance ministry rejected a report earlier this month from Palestinian Media Watch claiming that they had increased stipends to terrorists. A ministry spokesman said the 11% increase, which we reported to you about, was arrears payments and a bonus for the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. They also claimed that Palestinian civil servant salaries had gone up as well. Israel's Channel 13 reported that inspectors from the United Nations Nuclear Agency seem to have confirmed claims made last year by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu regarding a secret nuclear storage facility in Iran. The International Atomic Energy Agency said yesterday that they found traces of radioactive material at the building in Tehran that Netanyahu had identified in his September speech at the UN, where he had called on the IAEA to inspect it, which they did this past March and are said to be writing a report of their findings. The Jewish Agency and the International Fellowship for Christians and Jews are partnering once again. The IFCJ had stopped funding the agency after a falling out in 2014 regarding the agency's recognition of the fellowship and how the agency handled the immigration of Jews to Israel. Haaretz reported that the fellowship will continue its own Aliyah program and cooperate with the Jewish agency in other areas. Daughter of the late leader of the IFCJ, Yael Eckstein, said it would be more of a strategic partnership on specific projects. U.S. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife visited the Chabad Poway Synagogue in San Diego yesterday, the site of a deadly shooting attack this past April, where 60-year-old Lori Gilbert Kay was murdered and several others injured, including the rabbi of the congregation, Yisrael Goldstein, whom Kay leapt in front of, saving his life. The vice president and his wife received a blessing from Goldstein, and Pence later tweeted, "To the rabbi, your faith and courage is an inspiration to the nation. No one should fear in a house of worship. We will always condemn evil acts of anti-Semitism. We are with you." Well, an Israeli bride got a very touching blessing on her special day. Back in 2009, Shachar Kugelmas was in a terrible car accident and pronounced dead at the scene. However, a Muslim paramedic of United Hatzalah, who arrived soon after at the scene, decided to keep performing CPR on her, which he did for 40 minutes until her heart started beating again. Muia Kabha made a special appearance at Kugelmas's wedding last week, thanking her in Hebrew. He said, people ask me all the time, how do you keep going after all the death you see in your work? The answer, he said, is here. Kabha told the bride, I saved your body, but you saved my soul.
כי אני הצלתי לך את הגוף, את הצלת לי את הנפש.
United Hatzalah proudly states on its website that among its 5,000 volunteers, one can find religious and secular Jews, Arabs, Druze, Bedouins, and Christians. The sole criteria is to be willing to save anyone's life, anytime, anywhere. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, July the 12th. Live Kabbalat Shabbat services are coming up at 7 from the Hampton Synagogue, followed by Friday night services from Central Synagogue. At 9, it's the documentary Hate Spaces. At 10:30, Musica with musician Chemi Rudner. And coming up next, a discussion on whether faith divides or unites us, followed by a look at this week's Torah portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, July the 12th, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.